All right, folks, welcome to Set the Sails, the post-game show. We are coming at you live after a victory, hold on, a victory for your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 38-31 is the final score. The Bucs were down 24-7 and came back with a touchdown right before halftime after the fumble from the Chargers. Scored 21 unanswered points at that point. We got a lot to kind of dissect here. We got a lot to talk about, so we'll jump right into it. Joining me, of course, Al Bushman, one of the hosts of Set the Sails, of course, but he's also the host on Sports Caffeine, which we were on the show this morning, so make sure you guys go check them out. Al Bushman, let's get some initial and also before we give you that, but if you have any comments, put those up. We'll get those up during the show as well. We'll talk about some different things, but Al Bushman, big win for the Bucs. How are you feeling about it? Give us some take.
I can breathe a little bit easier now the game's over. I mean, the first half, I was just like, are you kidding me? We're gonna do this right now? We're gonna do this against the Chargers. I will say this: kudos to Justin Herbert. I mean, definitely the kid is. We shouldn't say he may be the real deal just yet, but he looked good. I mean, he looked good as a rookie quarterback. He had a great day, except for his last mistake he did to really basically seal the deal for the Bucs in this victory. But honestly, whatever adjustments they made in the locker room in the second half, whatever Tom Brady said to them, whatever he did was correct, because they came out firing on all cylinders. Brady looked great in the second half. 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers. The naysayers can say there's nothing left of the tank, but after today, 320 yards, 5 touchdowns, only 1 pick. Listen, a pick six is going to happen. It's going to happen. Whatever. But to come back and to throw that, it gives me more room to breathe each week with this Bucs team, because I think that was like the largest comeback they've had in a very long time. And I think one of the stats for Brady was it was the biggest comeback he had since the Super Bowl when they were trailing the Atlanta Falcons at halftime. So it's a good thing the Bucs can knock the Falcons on another thing that they can't do right. So, but yeah, I think all around, the Bucs looked great on offense. Too bad about OJ Howard, who is now going to be out for the season with an Achilles injury. And then one thing that we've talked about before in the show is, the secondary is really one of the weak points for this team. And I think I said on the JP show on Friday is, going forward, if they're going to be going against, better offensive teams like the Packers and the Chiefs, it really kind of makes me worried that they're going to give up a lot of points. You're giving up a lot of points to the Chargers of all teams, and especially rookie quarterback, which you talked about on Sports Caffeine this morning, where the Bucs, historically don't do well against backup or rookie quarterbacks. So, I hope Todd Bowles can get the troops together going forward against, big time teams like the Packers and Chiefs going forward. But overall, it's great to be a victory. We can go into Victory Monday on the show tomorrow night and talk about, today's game. It was great. Finally, I can breathe easy now, and I can drink some non-alcoholic beer like I did throughout the game.
There you go. All right. Well, the Bucs moved to 3-1. They are in first place still in the division. The Saints won their game in a shootout against the Detroit Lions. Lions did have the ball, were unable to get into the end zone in the end, and the Saints were able to hold on. Carolina wins today in another game where they just, like I mentioned this morning, they just came out and dominated Arizona. I think people are starting to figure out the Kyler Murray puzzle over there in Arizona.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Arizona I've been high on Arizona because of their offseason, drafts and who they got in free agency. But I think teams know now how to defend Kyler Murray and company. It was really, man, it was one of my picks today. Like Arizona was supposed to win today, and you're going to lose. But, dude, the Cleveland Browns taking it to the Cowboys. How about them boys?
The 3-1 Cleveland Browns, by the way.
I don't think I've ever heard 3-1 and Browns in the same sentence ever.
Well, this actually is kind of a good segue to what I was going to ask you. When was the last time the Bucs were 3-1?
It's been a while.
It's been a long time. I'd have to look back, and maybe if somebody wants to jump in on that question, look at it and see our statistician, El Bushman, looking it up right now.
I am.
But, I mean, it's really been a long time since and listen, you try to take the NFL season by quarters, And I said after the first game that we lost to the Saints, which was a rough game. I'll admit that. It was a rough game for the Bucs. It was a rough game for the Saints. It was not a clean game on either side, but the Saints just happened to come out and play better than us, and they were able to win it. So if you take the season in quarters, you're looking at a 3-1 Tampa Bay Buccaneer team after the first quarter of the season, coming on a team with a new quarterback, having to learn a new offensive system after 20 years, a tight end, Gronkowski, who hasn't really been involved. He made a great catch today, and I wish he would have gotten to the end zone.
Got your answer for you.
Okay,
last time was in 2011. That was the last time.
Oh,
so it's been a while.
Almost 10 years since we've started 3-1.
Been a while. So
jeez, that is horrible.
Very bad.
Anyway, but here's the thing, and everybody after Brady threw that pick six, everybody wants to be so quick to pull this trigger and say, well, Brady just doesn't have it, and Brady just doesn't have it. Every week, that's the same story I've heard for all these 4 games. Is that Brady's old. He doesn't make the throws. He doesn't do this. He doesn't do that. I'm going to tell you right now, he made some throws today that you can't tell that he's 43.
Right. Pretty. Like the touchdown pass he had to O.J. Howard, that was money. That was just almost like a work of art. Like I was watching the Mona Lisa being created when he threw that touchdown to OJ. So yeah, it was funny. I tweeted out as soon as he threw the pick six. I tweeted out everybody. Oh, here come the Jameis Winston tweets about we should have kept Jameis and everything. It's like no. Jameis was a turnover machine, and people were talking about him on Twitter. It's like, why are we still talking about this guy? We've got the GOAT on our team. And look at his stats today. Look at his stats: 5 touchdowns, 1 pick. That's it.
Nick Anderson commented. Let's see the stats right here: 30 for 46, 369, 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's. I get he's 43, and listen, there's going to be some moments like this. Okay, we're going to see Brady. It's not going to be crisp every throw. It's not going to be perfect every time. And I think people are just so hurt by what happened with Jameis that they just are trying to find negativity. And right. Tom Brady, these last 3 games, is giving you every reason to trust him.
They brought up a good point on NFL Red Zone where Tom Brady said, this is week 4 preseason. This is week 4 preseason to him. And to be honest with you, if you can say that and say the rest of the way is going to be like the regular season for him, I'm totally cool with that because honestly, the way they came back and won this game, going in the halftime down that much and then coming back and storming back in the second half, that tells me this team has so much chip on their shoulders as saying, hey, you know what? After the Saints game, everybody told us we're not going to be that team. We're not going to be a good team. But honestly, man, seeing that, if this was a team last year where Jameis was at the helm and we had the same guys running the plays and scores and stuff, Jameis wouldn't have been able to lead this team to a comeback like that. Jameis wouldn't have been able to do it at all. So for all the naysayers, let them keep hating on Tom Brady and this Bucs team. That's cool with me. Keep hating on them whatsoever. I give my jib jabs once in a while, but you know what? It's good to see a team that comes back from being that down before halftime and then comes storming back and winning the game, honestly. So, keep talking, keep smacking the gums. It's cool. We're ahead in the NFC South, and that's all that matters to me right now.
So Ronald Jones had a good day today, 20 carries, 111 yards. He had some drops, and I think there's a little cause for concern there, but I think again, look, Rojo is clearly the team's back. I know you brought in Leonard Fournette, who didn't play today because of injury. Keyshawn Vaughn saw his first bit of the field today, had 3 carries for 4 yards, but he had a touchdown as well, and it was a great touchdown run. It was very tough.
What are your thoughts about Keyshawn Vaughn? I mean, do you think he had overall a good solid debut, or was it still kind of the rookie jitters were still there when he? I know he dropped that one pass, but that throw from Brady wasn't that great a throw. Yeah, it was bad.
I liked it. I thought that. Listen, I don't want to sit here and try to compare Keyshawn Vaughn. And I know I made a joke earlier in our group chat, and I said Keyshawn Vaughn equals Warwick Dunn. And I think it's way too early to say that. But when you look at the body of him, it's it's oddly similar in certain ways. But I thought he did what he had to do today. He came in as kind of a backup role. He did get some time. And that touchdown, I'm going to tell you, that touchdown was a very tough run for him. He completely stopped on the sideline and was able to stop his momentum and lunge forward into the end zone, which was actually a great play. He had 2 defenders right on top of him and was still able to get the ball in. that shows signs of encouragement. If you're Bruce Arians and the team and you're evaluating him, I think that was definitely a good thing. The throw that he dropped was not his fault. Brady had a bad throw.
Yep.
I can't put that on him, but it was good. Shady McCoy also rushed today. He had a carry in 3 yards.
Scotty Miller.
Brady, Scotty Miller. We're gonna get to the wide receivers, but man, Scotty Miller. I'm gonna tell you this right now. We could be seeing, and I know Edelman's still playing, but we could be seeing the rebirth of Julian Edelman in a Tampa Bay form.
I can definitely agree
Scotty Miller, 5 receptions, 83 yards. He was averaging 16 yards per reception today. 1 touchdown, of course. He was one of the 5 that you mentioned. But I want to talk to you about another receiver today who had a big day, Mike Evans. 7 receptions, 122 yards. I hate that I traded him to you. You suck. You ripped me off. You ripped me off, and that's okay.
No, I'm getting destroyed by Casey in the fan stream league because of OBJ and Dak Prescott. So
dude, they had a day today. They
did.
Let me ask you about Mike, because one of and here's kind of a 2-part question. Were you bothered by the penalty that was called when he shoved the other player?
I was bothered by him for not containing his anger. It's like, you've been in the league long enough where you shouldn't have gotten goaded into that. And he did. He got goaded into it. And that's just a stupid penalty where you don't need to do that because your team was down at that point and you're just giving away yardage for your team to try to come back. So for him to do that, it's just a bonehead, stupid penalty where we've seen a lot of those this year with the Buccaneers and their stupid penalties. And that is something I hope Bruce Arians and Tom Brady address that with him, is like, man, you can't do that. You can't, especially with that team. And you're being down. Mike Evans should have known better not to be goaded into that. It's like, let them go to you as long as they want. Just don't retaliate, because now you see what happens. You're giving away free yardage. You're giving away your yardage to go and score, which, they went 3 and out there, and that penalty cost him. So, he had a big day, but to me, having that penalty really hurts his day. It's something that could have been avoided, and it's something that he should just be like, all right, going forward. Yeah, you can't get goated, man. There's going to be a lot of corners, and there's going to be a lot of defensive players that are going to be now targeting him now about trying to get some penalties off him, because it seems like Mike can't control his hot-headedness, which we've seen in the past. He's done this before.
Yeah, and it was tough. And listen, I hate to kind of overshadow that. I don't mind the competitiveness, but when it costs your team yards, that's when it doesn't become okay. Look, I don't mind you jib-jabbing and running your mouth and talking trash and things like that. By the way, just a side note to this, when you're down by 14 points and you celebrate, you're an idiot. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. I can't stand that. I can't stand it. But
don't celebrate a hit when you're down like 2 touchdowns.
Exactly.
That makes you look like a dummy. Yeah, don't do that at all. Going back to Mike Evans, we've seen this. Remember when the Saints game last 2 years ago? Was it 2 years ago or the year before last, when him and Marshawn Lattimore were getting into it?
Yeah.
He was getting into it with Jameis Winston, and then Mike comes out of nowhere. It's like, Mike, come on, dude. You should know by now you don't need to be doing those stupid penalties. But he had a big day, man. He looked good in the first half. Tom Brady, he was getting open all over the place. It's just Tom wasn't seeing him. And I know Tom was looking to spread the ball around, but Mike was even kind of injured. Mike was still getting injured. And huge day. I thought Mike could have gotten 2 more touchdowns today, and probably would have had a huge day for me in fantasy, but only 1 touchdown. But over 100 yards, so he had a great day.
7 receptions, 122 for him, averaging 17 yards and obviously a touchdown. We mentioned Scotty Miller, 83 yards. O.J. Howard, again, who you mentioned at the top of the show, looks as though, according to Bruce Arians, that O.J. Howard is going to be out for the season with a ruptured Achilles tendon, and that is a huge loss for Tampa Bay. Although Cameron Brate stepped in today, had a touchdown catch, a 3-yard touchdown. But it was actually a really good touchdown. Throughout that he ran. I actually love the way the commentators today broke that play down, because they compared it to kind of an NBA play where you're trying to get in and you kind of box out the other player behind you. And he did that perfectly today. So I was really impressed with that. And then Rob Gronkowski, I thought, although he only had the 1 catch, that 1 catch for 29 yards was a really, really big play in the Buccaneers' momentum.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I hope to see – we saw Gronk a lot last.
Oh, I think he's Frozen City. He's Frozen City. That's okay. I'll bring him back here in a second to talk about that. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the defense while we're waiting on Bushman to come back. Levante David, big day today, 10 tackles. Shaq Barrett with a sack today. Jordan Whitehead with a sack today. And, of course, Carlton Davis with the interception. Okay, Bushman's back. Sorry, we lost you for a second. Go ahead.
Yeah,
what were you saying about Gronk?
I was going to say, with O.J. Howard out, I think we're hopefully going to see more of Gronk. And I think Gronk – it looks like each week that they're progressing to get him more passes, and now you're going to have to with OJ being out. Now, of course, I like Cameron Bray being involved in the offense now because he's been silent, having a touchdown today. That's great as well. So he can't be just and you're going to have to incorporate Gronk into your schemes now because you've got Godwin out, you've got O.J. Howard out. I mean, Mike Evans has really been the focal point of that offense, but with Scott, it's like new guys have been integrated in the offense now. This past week, you've got Scotty Miller, who came out big today, Cameron Brate, and now Gronk, who I think is hopefully going to get his first touchdown next week, and that'll be a huge celebration. So overall, yeah, I think spreading the ball around is looking good for Tom Brady and company. So
let's go through some of the stats here for Tampa Bay. 28 first downs. They really controlled the time of possession. That was a big thing for me.
Huge.
Was time of possession today. 34 minutes to the Chargers, 25 minutes. 8 penalties, 90 yards. Those penalties still are hurting us in a lot of ways. And a couple of the penalties were, one of the penalties was the play with Mike Evans that we talked about just a minute ago, and things like that. No sacks allowed today. That is a huge coup for the offensive line. And here's the thing. When you don't allow sacks, Tom Brady has time, and he makes good throws.
Tom Brady throws for 5 touchdowns. That's what happens.
I mean, that's a huge thing. They didn't do well on third down today, 5 for 11 on third down. Listen, I know someone commented on Facebook earlier, and I saw this. I wanted to ask you about this before we kind of get rolling out of here. But the play calling today, were you kind of shaking your head sometimes? Because I know with Brady, you're not just going to deep bomb the throw every time. It's got to be a short thing where you mix in run and pass. Even when they were down 14 in a normal season, when previous coaches would have just kept airing it out with Jameis, they really did stick to the run today, and I was really impressed with that. But were you a little bit thrown off by some of the play calling today?
No, not really. I was okay with it. Overall, I'll give it a B minus. I think, the play calling still kind of vanilla when it comes to play calling, but I think, once they got up and had a lead, I think they started to play a little bit conservative, especially in the fourth quarter. But overall, I think it was okay. Tom Brady spreading the ball around is what I wanted to see. I know in the first half it was Mike Evans, all first and second quarter. So for them to come out in the third and fourth and spread it, that's what I wanted to see. I'd rather have that happen than still trying to go to Mike Evans. So I was okay with the play calling. I was okay with it.
All right. Before we get out of here, not a quick or not a long show today. We're just going to talk a few things. I do want to highlight this. Thursday night, the Bucs are going to be back on the field against the undefeated for now Chicago Bears. They just started their game against the Colts a few minutes ago.
Colts just scored. They are up 7-0.
Okay, so it would seem, and in my prediction, I have the Colts winning this game. I think that the Colts are going to be a little bit too much to handle for Chicago. But hey, that you never know with Chicago. Nick Foles could come out and just throw dimes. Who knows? We'll see what Nick Foles we get. But what are some of the things you're looking forward to with Bucs and Bears this Thursday night?
I'm looking for more of what we saw today, except for the defense part. We can't give up a lot of points to Chicago because they have the talent too. Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller, those are really good receivers there. And we've seen the reemergence of Jimmy Graham too. So going in Thursday, the game plan must be, you got to get to Nick Foles. You got to rattle his cage. And I'm hoping that the Bucs can do that. We saw the Bucs defense kind of get burned a little bit against a rookie quarterback, but we're going up against a veteran who's been in the league for a long time. So if you're Todd Bowles, you got to be prepared to have it. He's going to be airing it out all over the place. Nick Foles, their run game is really banged up right now. I think Tariq Cohen's out for the season. David Montgomery has a groin injury as well. So they're going to be throwing the ball. They're going to be chucking it. And for our secondary to give up a lot of points today against Justin Herbert and the Chargers was D- at best. So for Thursday night, be prepared. I honestly think this game might be another shootout too. I guess the two teams.
So I read something in the Chicago Sun-Times when they were highlighting this game, and it says, who's Tampa Bay's quarterback again? Oh, yeah, it's that Tom Brady fella. He's so old, he has Super Bowl rings, he probably doesn't even remember winning. And I'm going to tell you this right now. The Chargers thought the same thing today, and Tom Brady torched them for almost 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. So I'm not going to sit here and say yet on prediction wise what the Bucs will do, but I'm going to tell you this right now. If what we saw today is the offense starting to click, and we were still missing Chris Godwin, who by all likelihood probably won't play this Thursday either. Just as a precaution, I think he could probably come back, but I don't think they're going to play him this week.
I wouldn't rush it. I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't rush it either. So, especially if OJ's out, you're going to see more of Gronk. You're going to see more of Cameron Brate. Scotty Miller's turning it on at the right time. Rojo, if he has another 100-yard day, if the offense is finally clicking the way we hoped it would be, then I'm going to tell you this right now. I'm not saying Super Bowl because I still don't think we have enough to get there, but look out because this Bucs team is getting hot at the right time.
Yep, I agree. I totally agree. And I everything you just said 100% all the way.
All right, El Bushman, tell us what you got going on this week, what's on the schedule, and we'll get out of here.
Well, we got sports. We got to set the sales tomorrow night. Are we doing 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock? I can't.
To be determined due to playoff baseball.
We got playoff baseball and 2 Monday night football games tomorrow night too. You got the one at 7 o'clock and then the one at was it 8 o'clock?
Overload.
Sports overload. So and then of course Sports Caffeine Tuesday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
All right, awesome. Well,
wait, we should tease the thing we're gonna maybe do tomorrow night.
Oh, do you want to talk about that now?
We should tease it, or we should
talk about it now.
We have a giveaway tomorrow night for Set the Sales. If you guys are interested in possibly getting a signed photo by Mike Evans, tune in tomorrow night to Set the Sales to find out how you can win a signed photo of Mike Evans.
The Mike Evans, the guy who had 122 yards.
Not Mike Evans that lives down the street and delivers your mail. We're talking about
No, that's Mike Smith. All right, anyway. All right, guys. Well, for Al Bushman and myself, James Ludeman, thank you all so much for watching the postgame show here on Bucs Life Media, Bucs Life, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, wherever you're watching from today. Bucs are 3-1, first place in the NFC South, folks, believe it or not. Since 2011, as Al Bushman reported, the Bucs have not been 3-1 since 2011. So enjoy the ride. We will talk to you tomorrow at some point with Set the Sales, and we will talk some more on Thursday night after hopefully after another Bucs win against the Chicago Bears. All right, guys, the Bears. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later. As always, let's go.
Go Bucs.
Bucs. Have a good one, y'all. Happy Victory Monday tomorrow.